checking, make sure. All right, there you go. And there you go, live. All right. Islam on Christ is over 7,000 Yahweh. This is the Monday Night History class, and today's topic is the history of Mother's Day. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. All right. Basically, Mother's Day, you've been taught Mother's Day is, you're supposed to be honoring your mother, and, that's the day for her, right? That, it don't matter about the rest of the time you spend with your mother. It just matter about you buy her something for Mother's Day, you get her a card, you get her a gift or something like that, right? But I'm going to tell you something right now. If you celebrate Mother's Day, you is actually doing something evil towards the Most High and towards your mother. It's not because, the way Mother's Day has been put, like I said, you've been taught this for your mother, but you're actually celebrating a fall. And today we're going to get into that, all right? Now, let's go into this. All right, let me see. Let me get into the conference call. Not sure why I'm not letting me connect. Trying to call on my phone.
You are the first participant on this meeting. Please hold while we wait for others to join.
All right, there we go. So we're on the conference call now. All right. So like I said, you've been taught that it was to celebrate your mother, but you're actually celebrating a false god. Okay. Now, this goes back into the time of the Greeks, Mother's Day. All right. This is talking about Kronos. Kronos, he's the head god. He's like one of the head gods over, what the Greeks have. They have like hierarchy of gods. Kronos is one of the highest ones, if not the highest. So he was the leader in the first generation, and was the leader and youngest of the first generation of Titans, the divine descendants of the primordial Gaia, Mother Earth, and Uranus, Father Sky. He overthrew his father and ruled during the mythological Golden Age until he was overthrown by his own son Zeus in the prison in Tartarus. According to Plato, however, the deities Forces, Kronos, and Rhea were the eldest children of Oceanus and Tethys. In an ancient myth recorded by Hesiod's Theogony, Kronos envied the power of his father Uranus, the ruler of the universe. Uranus drew the enmity of Kronos' mother, Gaia, which he had the gigantic youngest children of Gaia, the hundred-handed Hecatonchires and one-eyed Cyclopes in Tartarus, so that they would not see the light. Gaia created a great stone sickle and gathered together Kronos and his brothers to persuade them to castrate Uranus. Right? Only Kronos was willing to do the deed, so Gaia gave him the sickle and placed him in an ambush. When Uranus met with Gaia, Kronos attacked him with the sickle, castrating him and casting his testicles into the sea. From the blood that spilled out from Uranus and fell upon Earth, from the blood that spilled out from Uranus and fell upon Earth, the Gigantes, Uranus, and Malai and the goddess Aphrodite emerged. For this, Uranus threatened vengeance and called his sons Titans for overstepping their boundaries and daring to commit such an act. So, of course, this kind of remind me of what they was, what's that dude? You remember the brother, remember the dude they was talking about? That he goes and, in Egyptian mythology, he puts his seed in his mouth and that's how he made the earth.
Shalaki, I don't want. Horus? Is it Horus?
No.
Where they got the picture where he's shooting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what
It's like Gag or Gog or something like that. Anyway, this remind me of, like, people think that these stories are different. This is like the same story of him, right? And basically, when they cut his testicles out, the blood spilled and made more children and put them on Earth. So that sounds similar to that, right? Kronos learned from Gaia and Uranus that he was destined to be overcome by his own sons, just as he had overthrown his father. As a result, although he sired the gods Demeter, Hestia, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon, by Rhea, he devoured them as soon as they were born to prevent the prophecy. When the sixth child, Zeus, was born, Rhea sought Gaia to devise a plan to save them and to eventually get retribution for on Kronos for his acts against his father and children. Rhea secretly gave birth to Zeus in Crete and handed Kronos a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes, also known as the Omphalos stone, which he promptly swallowed, thinking it was his son. So she gave him, the baby, but it was a stone, right? Because he knew that he was going to try to devour the baby, because he doesn't want the prophecy of him losing his power to his own son to come up. Rhea kept Zeus hidden in the cave on Mount Ida, Crete. According to some versions of the story, he was then raised by a goat named Amalthea, while a company of Chorites, armored male dancers, shouted and clapped their hands to make enough noise to mask the baby's cries from Kronos. Other versions of the myth have Zeus raised by the nymph Adamantia, who hid Zeus by dangling him by a rope from a tree so that he was suspended between the earth, the sea, and the sky, all of which was ruled by his father, Kronos. Still, other versions of the tale say that Zeus was raised by his grandmother Gaia. Once he had grown up, Zeus used an emetic used by Gaia to force Kronos to disgorge the contents of his stomach in reverse order. First the stone, which was set down at Pytho during the glens of Mount Parnassus, to be assigned to mortal men, and that is 2 brothers and 3 sisters. In other versions of the tale, Metis gave Kronos an emetic to force him to disgorge the children. So basically, they gave him an emetic, which
Lucky, I don't.
go ahead.
I got that name for you. It's Inky.
No, it's not.
It's not Inky. It says Salaki Rameh.
Uh-huh.
It says we find Inky, the creator god, lifting up his private part and ejaculating in the Tigris River. Okay, that's the Tigris
No, somebody, uh, I can't remember, I'll find it.
Okay, sir.
But, look, just look up, the earth god of the Egyptians. I'm not sure, it begins with a G if I'm not mistaken.
Gib. Salaki.
Geb, there you go, Geb.
Salaki.
It reminded me of the story of Geb, which is he swallowed his seed and then made earth. You know, it's all, that's what it all comes from, same thing, right? And emetic is like something that you take and it makes you throw up immediately. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's also a Pashkayai, Gab.
Come, we got it. Come, we got it. All right, the water.
Alright, beautiful, point.
All right. So he used that to make him give up the contents of his stomach so he can get his brothers and sisters out. Because remember, he swallowed them, right? After freeing his siblings, Zeus released the Hecatonchires and the Cyclops, who forged for him in his thunderbolts. Poseidon's trident in Hades, the helmet of darkness, and a vast war called it's these words, boy, the Titanomachy. Zeus and his older brothers and sisters, with the help of the Hecatonchires and Cyclops, overthrew Cronus and the other Titans. Afterwards, many of the Titans were confined in Tartarus. However, Oceanus, Helios, Atlas, Prometheus, Epimetheus, and Monoetius were not imprisoned during following the Titanomachy. Gaia bore the monster Typhon and claimed revenge to the imprisoned Titans. All right. Accounts of the fate of Cronus after the Titanomachy differ. So, but basically, this is what you're celebrating. If you go to, let's go to Amalthea. So, this was a goat. So basically, what you're celebrating is this goat that now he's like Zeus loving his mother. His mother was a goat. There were different, we'll get into that a little bit more. The name Amalthea is in Greek is tender goddess, right? Because she was the nurturing, she was a nurturing mother, basically, right? So Amalthea is sometimes represented as the goat who suckled the infant god in a cave in the Cretan Mount Algaian, which means goat mountain. Sometimes it's a goat tending nymph. So it's just telling like this is how it started. So they started celebrating these. They started having traditions of Mother's Day to celebrate his mother, which was the goat that was suckling him, and his mother Rhea. Which is your mother named Rhea, or is your mother named Amalthea? I don't think so, but this is where this comes from. And hold on, we're gonna get more into it. All right. Ancient Greeks had a lot of respect for the mother and honored her accordingly as the life giver. Centuries before Mother's Day was celebrated in the West, Mother Earth Gaia, wife of Uranus, was the personification of nature that gives birth to everything, and she was worshipped as the ultimate deity. Gaia is the ancestral mother, sometimes parthenogenic of all life. She is the mother of Uranus, the sky, from whose sexual union she bore the Titans. Themselves parents are many of the Olympian gods, the Cyclopes and the Giants, as well as the Pontus, the sea, and the union she bore the primordial sea gods. Her worship then passed to her daughter Rhea, wife and sister of Cronus, who gave birth to several deities in Greek mythology. Rhea was worshipped as mother of the gods, and ancient Greeks used to celebrate her annual spring festival to honor Rhea, the goddess of nature and fertility. That's why you celebrate it in the springtime, because they celebrated always in the springtime. That's what the Greeks did. They celebrated Mother's Day in the springtime. Rhea was often referred to as Meter Thean, mother of the gods, and there were several temples around ancient Greece dedicated to her under that name. Pausanias mentioned temples dedicated to Rhea under the name Meter Theon in Anagyros in Attica, Megalopolis in Arcadia, on the Acropolis of ancient Corinth, and in the district of Keramakos in Athens, where the statue was made by Phidias. The center of the worship of Rhea was, however, on Crete, where Mount Ida was said to be the birthplace of Zeus. Reportedly, there was a house of Rhea in Knossos. Mother's Day in ancient Rome and today. Ancient Romans also celebrated a spring festival in the name of Hilaria, in honor of Mother Goddess Cybele, some 250 years before Christ was born. So this has nothing to even do with Mary. This was before Christ was even born. So all of this mother and loving son worship, that came from the Greeks and the Romans. The Most High, he didn't set it to be a worship of the mother and son. That's why, the Catholics, they got to do the Hail Marys. Like Mary is more important than Christ is. That comes from Greek mythology, right? Because like all of the, like, how in America, the mother is honored more than the father? That's why that is. That comes from the Greeks. Just like it all ties back even in Adam and Eve. What did the devil tell Eve? You can be a god. Right? And he know that with black women especially, that's gonna what? You know what I'm saying? It's gonna turn their head. They gonna say what? That's why even our black women now, they like the one way you can get them, you start calling them queens and goddesses. That's like the new move. You call women now, all of a sudden, oh, he thinks highly of me. Meanwhile, he just sleeps with you and leaves you. Right?
Go
ahead.
Like the man that gets you and call you a queen and all this, but then he really make you a whore because he just gonna sleep with you and get rid of you.
Make you a prostitute. Damn.
Right. Damn. Right. Damn.
Well, like I was watching that show Wild 'N Out, right? I mean, I like it. It's funny. And he called them. He said now they no longer the Wild 'N Out girls. They the Wild 'N Out goddesses.
Oh Lord.
But what do Nick Cannon have? A bunch of women that he ain't even with.
All right, come.
He just gave them babies.
Come.
They ain't his wives, right? He laid with them and left them.
Come.
So that's what men do when they in the world. they start calling you, but he gonna call you a goddess, come here queen, you know, all of that. You go, a women come on the show, they all goddesses and queens. But what does he do to that so-called goddess and queen? Pumps a baby in you and dumps you.
Oh God.
Right? Alright. Later, Christian Greece honored the mother associated with the feast of I.S.U.P.K, February 2nd. The Orthodox Church celebrates the day the Virgin Mary with Joseph took the 40-day-old Jesus to the temple to be blessed. Now it went from Rhea to Rhea and Amathia. It went from them to then it went to the, I'm trying to get the names he said. Hilaria and Sibyl, which was the Romans. That's the Roman version. Because whenever you have the Greek version, there's always a Roman version that comes after it. It's the same thing, right? Same guys. They just called them something a little different, right? But same stories. Now it's them, and now it's Christ and Mary, right? However, in the 1960s, the celebration of I.S.U.P.K lost its popularity, and Greeks started honoring the mother on the second Sunday of May as the rest of the West, even though the church insists on the old day of celebration. Of course, the church, they want to go with the old day because the church is not a church of God, it's a church of the Greeks and the Romans. It's not of the Most High. And this shows you that they want to even do, they still want to do the celebration there. That's what is most important, because that's what they did it back in the times of the Greeks and the Romans. The modern celebration of Mother's Day was established in the 20th century and comes from the American women's movement. Anne Maria Reeves Jarvis organized the first time in 1865 the Mother's Friendship Day movement and meetings called Mother's Day meetings, where mothers exchange views and experiences. In 1870, Julia Ward Howe organized an event of mothers gathering under the slogan Peace and Motherhood to prevent children from being sent to war. So you see, now this woman, what was it, Rhea, she had her son from Kronos, which would have been the person that wants to be like, send him to war or whatever the case is, right? But now she hid him. Now it's the same way they're doing now. They're trying to put in to say a mother's love to keep the son from having to go to war. So it's that mother and son relationship that's always been pervasive in the Greeks and the Romans. Today, millions of people across the globe take the day as an opportunity to honor their mothers, thank them for their efforts in giving them life, raising them, and being their constant support and well-wisher. But like I said, this shows you where it all comes from. It doesn't come from you loving your mother. That's what you were taught. That talks about you loving your mother. That's why you do Mother's Day. No, you really showing love to a goat and some other, Roman god, Greek Roman god, Greco-Roman god. All right. Any questions on that so far? Anybody on the conference call? said, is anybody on the conference call?
No call, son.
All right, you got any questions up?
No, not so far.
Okay. History of Mother's Day. In 1858, we're gonna get more into those ladies that started Mother's Day. Okay. All right. You get some Okay. Comes from Ann Jarvis. That's the new mother. That's the new Rhea. You understand? That's the new Rhea and Amalthea. In 1858, when Ann Jarvis, a young Appalachian homemaker, organized mothers' workdays to improve the sanitation and avert deaths from disease-bearing insects and seepage of polluted water. In 1872, when Boston poet, pacifist, and women's suffragist Julia Ward established a special day for mothers and for peace not long after the bloody Franco-Prussian War. And in 1905, when John and Ann Jarvis died, her daughter Anna decided to memorialize her mother's lifelong activism, and began a campaign that culminated in 1914 when Congress passed a Mother's Day resolution. So they seen it these days, and this was the person. This is an old oppressor woman. That this is what you're trying to celebrate Mother's Day. I get it. You want to show your mother some appreciation. You got 365 days to show your mother appreciation. Why do you got to show her on this particular day? Right? Why did it become a holiday? Why can't it be something that you just give to your mother just because you love your mother? Right? Each woman in all these events have contributed to the present occasion, now celebrated on the second Sunday in May. The cause of world peace was impetus for Julia Ward Howe's establishment over a century ago of a special day for mothers, following unsuccessful efforts to put together an international pacifist conference after the Franco-Prussian War. Howe began to think of a global appeal to women. Of course, she wanted to, just like what women do, they always want to go to a global appeal. They want to, well, all women, we could go ahead and unite on this, and like, what is it for? It's all vain. It doesn't mean anything. You just have a day that says Mother's Day, right?
Don't come, sir.
So they say they wanted women's right to vote and all of that. But if you look, let's be honest. Do you know why women weren't allowed to vote? Does anybody know why women weren't allowed to vote?
A lie, sir.
You know Napash-Kaya?
So, all of that, it has something to do with biblical terms.
Lie.
No, okay, so not allowed to vote because it's because of the second class citizen, the men need and women follow.
Lie. The basis of why women couldn't vote was because you can only vote if you can sign up for the draft. So it's like, I mean, it's like I said, it's not big up in America, nothing like that, don't get it twisted. But at least in that sense, it's like, okay, if you gonna go to war, if you gotta sign up for the draft, that you can go to war, literally get put to go to war, then you the ones that should be able to vote, because you gotta choose your commander in chief that's gonna send you to war.
Right.
Women don't have to sign that. That's why they didn't, it wasn't even, like I said, they don't like women like that anyway, but I'm saying that this particular thing was not based upon you a woman, that's why you can't vote. It's because you can't sign up for the service like that. And then, women, they didn't even go to the military until more recent times. So it wasn't for women. And it still shouldn't be for women, right? Just like serving Israel isn't for women in the term that we do as judges and all of that, right? So, matter of fact, we could even get into that, because the one person they always want to go into is, of course, Deborah, right? You know about Deborah?
Sir, a little bit.
What you know about Deborah?
I mean, before Deborah or
Yeah,
Deborah?
Deborah, same thing, yeah.
If I may, was she the one that went to war with her husband?
Not necessarily like that. She was a judge in Israel.
She was a judge,
Yeah, but.
Oh, I remember, Salaki, if I may, I remember General Muhammad bringing that out and said she was like the one that was saying, don't do this and do that.
Yeah. Just like, how you'll have the men that's always the strong part, but you got the women like you got to go back to like your grandparents, right? Or your great grandparents. You had the men, they teach the men how to be strong, but it's the mother that keeps the family together. You understand what I'm saying? So like when you have like beefs, like, oh my God, grandma, my husband getting on my damn nerves. She tells you how to deal with it, right? You call her and she'll be like, all right, baby, here's what we gonna do. We gonna come over here. I'm gonna make some tea. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make you something to eat, make you feel good, and tell me all about it. And she was that listening ear and to tell you what to do. But she wasn't gonna tell you, she wasn't giving judgments. You know what I'm saying? If you and your sister had a beef about some, money or situation, right? She gonna say, okay, give the money back to her. You know what I'm saying? Give it back. You know it don't belong to you. But grandma, you know it's not yours. Give it back. You know what I'm saying? That's what she was. But in our women's seeking for power, they're always trying to find something to try to gain power in. Even in the Bible, they try to gain, even though, but let me ask you a question though. Is any of those women that say something about Deborah, or any of them like Deborah? Nah. Deborah had a strong reputation in the Israelite, in the Israelite countries, right? She had a strong reputation of doing this. She was like the most honorable woman. Is any of these women that you see the most honorable women you ever see? Hell no. They got a new husband every week. Right? So it's like, are they anything like her? Not at all. They don't have, their reputation is, if you give her $40, you can lay with her. That's her reputation. That wasn't Deborah's reputation. Deborah didn't get high. Right? Shalom on Christ.
Come on, boss, I'll check it in, sir.
Oh, shalom on Christ, huh? What's going on?
I'm a little while, sir.
What's on Christ? But Deborah, she didn't do that. Shalom, what's going on?
Yeah, but I see me outside about the Officer Sean checking in.
That's not what's going on now. So,
Not much going.
so that's what that was. It was you know, she just did that. She tried to keep Israel together because like you need men, you need women, right? Women give you the nurturing touch, so you felt better, even though it was the same thing the man was telling you. Your father tell you one thing, and your mother say the same thing, but you like it for your mother better. You know what I'm saying? That's all it was. That's all she did, but she didn't give out no judgments or nothing. And we're gonna get into that too. All right. While the war was still in progress, she wrote, she keenly felt that a cruel and unnecessary character of the contest, she believed, as any woman might, that it could have been settled without bloodshed. And she wondered, why do not the mothers of mankind interfere in these matters to prevent the waste of that human life, of which they alone bear and know the cost? Howe's version of Mother's Day, which served as an occasion for advocating peace, was held successfully in Boston and elsewhere for several years, but eventually lost popularity and disappeared from public notice in the years preceding World War I. For Ann Jarvis, also known as Mother Jarvis, community improvement by mothers was only the beginning. Throughout the Civil War, she organized women's brigades, asking her workers to do all they could without regard which side their men had chosen. And in 1868, she took the initiative to heal the bitter rifts between her Confederate and Union neighbors. The younger Anna Jarvis was only 12 years old in 1878 when she listened to her mother's teach a Sunday school lesson on our mothers in the Bible, I hope and pray that someone sometime will find a memorial Mother's Day. The senior Jarvis said, there are many days for men, but none for mothers. Following her mother's death, Anna Jarvis embarked on a remarkable campaign. She poured out a constant stream of letters to men of prominence, President William Taft and former President Theodore Roosevelt among them, and enlisted considerable help from Philadelphia merchant John Wanamaker. By May of 1907, a Mother's Day service had been arranged on the second Sunday in May at the Methodist Church in Grafton, West Virginia, where Mother Jarvis had taught. The same day, a special service was held at the Wanamaker Auditorium in Philadelphia, which could seat no more than a third of the 15,000 who showed up. The custom spread to churches in 45 states and in Puerto Rico, Hawaii, Mexico, and Canada. The governor of West Virginia proclaimed Mother's Day in 1912. Pennsylvania governor in 1913 did the same. The following year saw the congressional resolution, which was promptly signed by President Woodrow Wilson. Mother's Day had endured. It serves now, as originally did, to recognize the contributions of women. Mother's Day and the job of mothering. It is varied and diverse. Perhaps that's only appropriate for a day honoring the multiple ways women find to nurture their families in the ways in which so many have nurtured their communities, their countries, and a larger world. So this was basically talking about, them trying to end peace, but you see where it comes from. Them trying to, end war. which it all is in the same spirit of Rhea and Mathia, because she knew that Kronos was coming to kill her son, so she did what she had to do to keep her from being destroyed, which is what they're doing to keep their sons from going to war, which sounds like, beautiful thing, right? You want to keep your sons, you love your sons, right? But it comes a time that every man, a boy has to become a man. He has to fight. He has to learn how to fight. He has to go to war. That's what men are for, to go to war, right? All right, can somebody give me Judges 4 and 4? Go ahead.
The book of Judges, chapter 4 and verse 4.
Uh-huh.
Come. And Deborah.
Oh, no, it's the we can read it here. Mashallah can read it. Go ahead.
Come, sir. The book of Judges, chapter 4 and verse 4. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, she judged Israel at that time.
She judged Israel at that time. Right, so she was a judge. She helped to keep the peace in Israel, which I even heard that, because imagine Yahanna said, we don't need, what did he say we don't? He said we don't need people like with money and millionaires. We need judges. We need people to teach Israel how to handle their issues and their problems. Right? Keep going.
Come, verse 5. And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in Mount Ephraim.
Yep.
And the children of Israel came up to her for judgment.
So you see the difference here. She was to be in a tree. It was a palm tree that she would be under. Everybody knew that she would be there. And the children of Israel came to her for judgment, right? You know, a lot of times with judgment, you was brought to the judge. You understand that?
Come.
So she didn't make judgments of people. She just kept the peace. Right? So she might have been like, if you stole something from somebody, and somebody would go tell her, hey, he stole something from me, you might want to listen to Deborah, or they going to cut your hand off. You know what I'm saying?
Come.
She was like the buffer before the judges, I guess you could say.
Come.
She was the motherly, she's trying to keep, she's trying to like, if you, hey, they'll say, hey, Deborah, I'm thinking about leaving my husband and going and laying with this man. She would say, don't do that. They're going to stone you to death. Don't think you're going to get away. And she'll stop. She was, like I said, she was like a buffer. They keep the big judge, the male judges from doing the real judgment. Right? Keep going.
Come. Verse 6. And she sent and called Barak, the son of Abinon, out of Kadesh Naphtali, and said unto him, Hath not the Lord God of Israel commanded, saying, Go and draw toward Mount Tabor, and take with thee 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali, and of the children of Zebulun.
So she's just telling, confirming with him that he said to go here and do this, to take, you know, these men and go to this war. Go ahead.
Come, verse 7. And I will draw unto thee to the river, to the river Kishon, Sisera, the captain of Jabin army, with his chariots and his multitude, and I will deliver him into thine hand.
So she got prophecies from the Most High because she had a good reputation. Like all these women that are whores saying that they get divine wisdom from I don't know. Well, they do get divine wisdom. It just comes from Satan. That's their divine wisdom.
Okay.
I got into one time, it was like somebody was saying that they were spiritual. We were saying they spiritual. I don't know what the hell that means. I'm spiritual. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. Can anybody break that down on the conference call what spiritual means? Please, I need a definition. Go ahead.
It comes from the double-minded scripture. Person who's double-minded. They used to be with, the Israelite culture, and they probably joined some group, and they left that group and joined another, what's called religion, or some kind of Christianity. So they still want to keep some of the stuff from the Israelite culture, and like they say, they lead different groups and organizations and religions. They will combine everything to one. They will call something spiritual. So you can always say, it came from Jesus Christ and all that. So that's what they mean by spiritual. You want to add being a weed head, but when God shows, they use all these type of different gods and combine it into one own doctrine. That's called spiritual.
Okay. All right. So to me, what spiritual just means is you might have been raised a Christian, but you don't want to say that you a Christian. You don't want to say that you believe the Bible, because if you believe the Bible, you got to follow something. You know what I'm saying? Christians, I'm not saying that they got a moral compass because they go against all the laws, but at least I guess they hide it at best, I guess. You know what I'm saying? And then now they think that they're trying to do better. They don't even want to even to be looked upon like they should be trying to do better. They just want to say I'm spiritual, because now if you're spiritual and you're not a Christian, you don't feel bad about not doing Christian things.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong, you shouldn't feel bad about it, but I'm just trying to explain what it is. It's about being lawless. Christianity is about as lawless as you can go. But they want to go even more lawless than that. See what I'm saying? So that's what they're doing. Go ahead.
So I got one about maybe people in the world that say I'm spiritual and this and that, but shit, it's a lot of you got good spirit and bad spirit. If you wanna take it to that point, which one are you? They can't explain that.
No, it won't, because all it really is just an excuse to go whatever your flesh wants. Whatever feels good and sounds good. Do you know how I knew that this was the truth? It didn't feel good.
Right.
It didn't sound good to me.
Right.
Right? When I came here, they said that you can't eat pork, shrimp, crab. In the world, I used to test for crabs, man. But I knew that when I read it, when I found this out, when I found the truth, I haven't touched crab in probably about 7 years.
Yeah, most high crab.
You know what I'm saying?
Most high crab.
Been about 7 years, something like that. So it's like I knew that it was something I had to do. I knew it because I seen that it was strict or whatever. And I'm like, that's how I knew it was the truth, because it was hard. It wasn't easy. It was a battle. And nothing, why do those, like, even when you have your children, right? Do you raise your children to do everything easy? Do you do that?
Some kind. Well, I mean, it's a lot about me.
Go ahead.
You know, before I came into the truth, I pretty much fought my whole life to make my life comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
Comfortable. But when you come into the truth, it's gonna be really uncomfortable for you.
No, what I'm saying is you put your children in football,
Oh, come.
so they learn to be a little, to go against opposition.
Come.
That's what I'm referring to.
Okay,
You teach them how to fight, right?
Come.
To go against opposition. That's what you teach them. You teach them how to have a backbone. Why would God be the opposite? Because Christianity, they don't teach you to have a backbone.
Right.
They teach you how to get your backbone blown out. They teach you that. See, they don't have no backbone. It's blown out. It ain't there no more.
Right.
That's what they learn in the Christian church, right?
Come.
All right. Go ahead.
That's why I hear like a lot of brothers saying, well, I'm a spiritual Israelite. I've been trying to figure out what's a spiritual Israelite.
I have no idea. I don't think they really know. I think they just like, I feel it. It's like an emotional. It's like emotion. It's like the rapture. The rapture is an orgasm. You can't find the word rapture in the Bible at all. Look it up. Trust me, it's not there. But the rapture is an orgasm. It's stuff that make you feel good. That's why they did Mother's Day, because they wanted to make people feel good, and it feels good to, it feels good to be like, I'ma honor my mother. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that it's bad to honor your mother. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is anytime, like I said, in this country, you honor your mother higher than you honor your father. And since we're basically taught by the Romans and the Greeks, they honored their mothers more than they honored their fathers. Right? And this is where it all comes from. Go ahead.
So at the point what you're bringing out, I don't want to, if I may, I heard from several Christians about that spiritual Israelite. They try to make it like these so-called modern day Christians of how they try to merge, other beliefs and other religions and stuff together. It just like you hear them talking about I'm a spiritual Israelite, or this Edomite, this Caucasian, he could be a spiritual Israelite, or this Chinese could be a spiritual Israelite. They're just trying to do the same thing they did with Christianity. They're trying to merge multiple beliefs and stuff, all the sin and stuff that they still participate in the world. They try to bring it over to the Israelite side. I'm a spiritual Israelite, but none of these customs that you're doing, whether you're prostituting or selling, smoking weed or eating pork, you're trying to justify what you're doing by saying, "Oh, I'm a spiritual Israelite. I can still do this stuff that I'm doing in the world, and I still got that grace and mercy as is, Christianity believes, and I can still be a spiritual Israelite, even though I'm from another culture, another nation, and still do all this stuff. It's crazy, but that's what they believe.
And I think too, like it's part of that. It's like being lukewarm, and the Most High say He don't want you to be lukewarm, right? When you lukewarm, you get to say, well, I believe in the universe, What the hell does that mean? I believe in the universe. I believe in the spirits will guide me. Well, with them spirits that you listen to, must have guided you in the wrong direction. I can tell by your life, right? You getting high every day. You on depression medication, right? You on all type of medications. You on, from trauma. I'm not saying that it's wrong even taking that medicine. The point of what I'm saying is, something is wrong. Your spirit guide is not working. Brothers come over here. It was a brother I seen who couldn't hardly damn walk. His back was bent over. This man is walking straight now, and he graduated from Hebrew Academy.
Damn, Most High Christ. Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Give it up for that brother. I can't, if the brother name come across it, I'll tell you. But when I first seen him, he couldn't hardly walk, man. He had to sit down, and now he's standing straight up. That's what, the hell with being spiritual. Spiritual don't do a damn thing for you. This is what you need, the truth. The truth heals you. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody says Salagi.
Oh, what's my face? The lock over.
All right. Go to Judges 5 and 7.
The book of Judges, chapter 5 and verse 7. The inhabitants of the villages ceased. They ceased in Israel, until that I, Deborah, arose, that I arose a mother in Israel.
She was a mother in Israel. All right? We love our mothers too, man. You don't have a feast of Deborah. You know what I'm saying? Because that is idolatry. She's not going to get a high holy day. Right? You know how she got honored?
Sir.
Where's her name at?
And it's lucky, in the scriptures.
Exactly. That's how she got honored. Now her name is forever in our records. That's how she got honored.
Okay.
She ain't get honored by no Mother's Day and none of that. She didn't even need it. She was just happy to help Israel, her family. Right?
Okay.
Anybody else got any questions at all? Anything anybody want to bring out? Go ahead.
When Christians celebrate, holiday like Mother's Day, is on that particular day, is it fair to say that they're trying to make their mother like a deity?
God, that is fair to say. That's exactly what they're doing. And then they're not even. Go ahead.
I was thinking about that scripture, when it said, this paraphrase said, baking cake for the Queen of Heaven. We know there's no queen in heaven, no queen sitting next to the Most High, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that scripture kind of, Captain Connors, I broke it down one day. He was saying, there's like a deity that, we use. They're making that cake in a sense, and like they're celebrating a deity. They're making up their own like deity when they do that. And so that's why I was thinking about Mother Day. They're making their mother like a deity on that day.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. They're making their mother into a deity. Right? Exactly. There's nothing different. This day comes from other deities. Rhea and Amathia comes from those deities. And they do it because, like I said, Christianity, it just takes the love of something that you like and they twist it into some evil, right? All right. Anything else? Anybody else want to bring up? All right. Got anything you want to bring out up?
Loud one.
None? All right. Anybody got any questions? All right. With that, pass the class over to precinct officer, SHALAM.
Every class I want, every class, every class. I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves with the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 through 21, Malachi 3, 8 through 10. Ma'ashra means 10th in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the Treasury Department. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. What's the next upcoming holy?
We're going to celebrate the Feast of First Fruits, Sunday, June 12th.
Come. We're celebrating the Feast of First Fruits till June 12th. Remind Akim and Akwathium to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone start wearing all black boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarves, and to Google address every time they are heading to the school. And with that, we'll give the teacher a courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amijah, Shabbat, Amijah, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatham.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatham.
Yamatah means hands down, class dismissed.